What's up, everyone? My name is Mistic. Welcome back to Mistic Reacts. Today, with another video by Papa Mate, Deadly Encounters with Uncontacted Tribes. I can only think of one that's like super hostile to any boats that go near it. But I've been hearing about them recently. Nothing new, but like I've known about them for years, but suddenly everyone else seems to say something. Maybe something happened that I don't know about. But let's see what Papa Meat has to say.
How you doing? How you doing? Come on
I'm
and
good,
sit
I'm
down
good.
because today we're going overboard.
Ooh,
There's something so crazy about the idea of uncontacted
not
tribes. There are
really.
many known to reside in places like the Amazon rainforest, as well as many other places of the world. People in these communities maintain their traditional way of life, living without the use of technology. And in fact, some
I
tribes
could
have
never.
survived for thousands of years on their own. There is, however, a darker side to this.
Mhm.
Many people go out of their way to interfere with the lives of these tribespeople,
And they
they
are
get
weirdos.
burned, dude. Maybe literally. They know they get stabbed a lot or shot with
Yep.
arrows, you know? Uncontacted tribes are susceptible to all sorts of diseases, seeing as
Yep.
they've not benefited from modern medical advancements. Making contact with the outside world increases the likelihood of spreading disease outbreaks throughout their community, like
And
influenza,
completely killing all of
measles.
them.
In some cases, these outbreaks have wiped out entire tribes.
Yep.
The tourists face harm as well, as it is common for these indigenous tribes to be protective of their land when faced with outsiders. And in many cases, people have been brutally tortured, murdered, and even cannibalized in an attempt to make contact with them. Without further ado, today we're going to be talking about some of the
Seems
reasons
like a
why you
normal
don't
reaction to
contact
me.
the uncontacted tribes. You know, these are little curious cases of some of mostly religious. It's going to be a lot of religious people going in and trying to say hello. I don't know. Spread
Wonder
the good
why.
word, and the good word was not meant to be spread. Of course, starting off with the YouTuber who gave Diet Coke to an indigenous tribe. I feel like that'd rot your stomach out if you've never had Diet Coke before. You see what that shit does to pennies?
I've had it before and it still rots my stomach.
Oh, I like it! Recently, an American YouTuber named Makhalio Victorio Parvalikov was
recent.
arrested for interfering with the
Maybe
Sentinelese
this is
tribe.
why they
The
keep bringing
Sentinelese
it up.
live on the North Sentinel Island, a small island that resides in the Indian Ocean. They are known as the most isolated indigenous people in the world, with a total population estimated to be around 150 people. They aggressively reject any sort of outside contact, partly fearing that it will result in diseases that can take out their entire tribe.
And they
there
will
are
be
even
correct.
photographs of the Sentinelese shooting arrows at helicopters whenever they encroach on their land. On some occasions, they have been friendlier towards people approaching them with gifts, like Diet Coke. Here, or a PS3, Xbox 360 and PS3, that's all you need. In many cases, however, outsiders were met with hostility. Like in 2006, a fishing boat had drifted to the island while the men inside were asleep. They were hacked to death with axes, and their bodies were reportedly hooked onto bamboo stakes as a warning to passing boats.
Yikes.
Didn't have Diet Coke. If they would have found Diet Coke on the boat, it would have been a different story.
Right.
Polyclov, the 24-year-old influencer, planned to take a GoPro with him to the island in order to make an offering and get some good content out of the situation.
Yeah,
Get a
content.
little GoPro, bring a little Diet Coke, get some good content. The math was there, ladies and gentlemen. The math was there. He prepared an inflatable boat and set out on this journey by himself. His
Inflatable
offering
boat.
consisted of a coconut and a can of Diet Coke.
And a gun.
Coconut seems insulting.
I'll see what he sounds even more insulting. One Diet Coke for 150 people? Motherfucker couldn't bring a 12-pack? Using his binoculars, he scanned the island upon his arrival. He expected a horde of Sentinelese to be waiting on the shores. He blew a whistle to get their attention, but to no avail. He then stepped onto the shore to grab sand samples and leave his offerings before returning home. As soon as he made it back to the port, he was arrested. It is considered illegal to visit the island or even be within 3 miles of it, because they want to protect it from the outside influence that can destroy their way of life. Further investigation proved that Polyakov had more previous attempts to visit the island in the past. After an appearance in court, he may carry a prison sentence for many years with a lot of heavy fines. Which also, if you've heard nothing from this place besides people getting axed to death and shot with arrows, why would you want to keep returning? Also, what benefit are you going to do dropping off a goddamn coconut and a can of Diet Coke?
He wanted sand samples.
He wanted content. He wanted to get attacked, is what I think. He wanted to get attacked and have the GoPro POV attacked by
POV.
contactless tribe.
You
It's like
fucking
Indiana
die.
Jones. Start the plane! And this isn't the only guy to get in trouble with the Sentinelese. There was another person who had a bit more of an oopsie-daisy fate. John Allen Chow, the man who tried to convert the Sentinelese to Christianity.
Ugh.
This is where it goes downhill. This is where we start getting some rough pumpkins.
They're a
you know?
bunch
Every
of atheist
time.
Redditors.
Yeah, the Sentinelese are a bunch of incel, atheist Redditors, 4chaners who are just like, God who? John Allen Chow was a Christian missionary who felt he was called upon by God to spread the word to the Sentinelese people in North Sentinel Island. I'm going to say that's probably not true. It's all
Yeah.
me. Really, John Chow? Really, you're the person to do it?
Mm.
Yeah, me. Gypsy, is that you? Yeah, it's me, Gypsy Rose. That's the only person that could convert the Sentinelese to Christianity is Gypsy Rose. You better do it.
She'd bring her like prison wine drink.
Yeah, her fucking soup goop. Drink it, Ryan. Oh, god damn, Gypsy, what
That
the hell
feels
is
like a
that?
weird
Chow was a
reference.
religious and adventurous thrill seeker who
Of
believed the
all
risk
people.
would be worth it if it meant he could bring Christ to the island that he considered to be Satan's last stronghold on Earth. His quotes, not mine. His trip was partly inspired by the mission trip of
Wonder
Jim
why
Elliot,
that
who was killed in
is.
1956 by members of the Huarani tribe, whom he tried to make contact with in Ecuador. Think that that's just a warning sign, but my boy said, challenge accepted. John prepared for his trip by attending a boot camp style exercise in 2017, run by a religious Kansas City organization. I live there! They created a fake village filled with people pretending to be hostile native people wielding spears. Where the hell would they have even done that in Kansas City?
They're doing it in the crossroads.
Go Patrick Mahomes. It was noted by the leader of the organization that Chow was the best trainee they had ever taken in. How many people are
Wow.
training for this? You're going
0.
with Christ, Chow. He's like, thank you, sir. He took every precaution experts would recommend to prepare himself for the trip, including exposing himself to several diseases so he could become immunized to them. Unsure of how to actually travel to
That
the island
doesn't really
safely,
help
he convinced a
the
group of Christian
actual
fishermen to take him to the island
people
illegally. He paid them
themselves.
$400 for the trip. When they arrived, the fishermen refused to step on shore. They dropped John off with a kayak and left him. Bye, John. Bye, guys. Can't wait to talk about Christ.
Bye.
Before meeting the tribe, John stripped down to his underwear to make the Sentinelese more comfortable. He took the kayak to shore with some fish for gifts and shouted that he loved them and Jesus loved them too. However, this
They do
elicited
not
a hostile
speak
reaction.
your
He was
language.
shot at with arrows. He retreated,
Shocking.
waiting things out a bit before returning to make another attempt. I like how they let it slide once. They're like, get the fuck out of here, man. He's like, okay. I got some fishies. They shouted at him.
How about
He attempted to
now?
mimic their words back. He even sang worship songs to them, but they just laughed at him.
That's insulting, because what if they're like, get out of here?
You get out of here. They're like, never had reverse
No,
psychology
you.
before.
No, you.
I like how he's just like, God's building a church. He's gonna march like a mighty army man.
Do you think he was TikTok dancing too?
Yeah, like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wife's chick with her baby dying. She's like,
I
gets
do not
into it.
remember
Maybe.
that.
Eventually, John was able to give them gifts, but a child shot him with an arrow as he attempted to preach gospel to them. He's like in their hut, whatever, and he's like, all right, so listen up, guys. You got the gifts. Let's talk about Jesus for a second, huh? He gives him one of these, and then a child's just like, he's like, ah, fuck! Actually, what? He said crackers. Cheese crackers.
You
guys,
can't say
come
that
on.
word.
Luckily, the arrow was blocked by his waterproof Bible, which he was holding up to his chest.
God saved him.
Oh, sir! His kayak was stolen from him. Oh, damn. Not the kayak! His kayak was stolen from him, so he was forced to swim back a full mile back to his fishing boat. As he pondered his next approach overnight, he journaled about his fear of death, claiming it would all be worth it to, quote, declare Jesus to these people. They gave him 2 attempts to just get the fuck out of
I
here.
know. Yeah, you're pressing your luck pretty
At
good.
the same time, too, though, he's just like, listen, if you're going by the gambler's code, what is it? You're one gamble
Third
away
time's the
from
charm.
back from taking home the house, huh?
It's like the guy digging through the mines.
Okay. I have this mindset. Oh, I kind of have a gambling addiction. So I have this mindset. Lotto tickets.
Yeah.
To the
But he probably thought to
One of
himself,
these
dude, there's
days.
a reason why they haven't strip scalped my ass, dude. He's like, I'm supposed to get in there and do it.
they're playing hard to get.
They're playing
Mhm.
hard to get. The next day, he swam back to shore and approached the village on foot. This was the last time anyone ever saw Chow alive. His journal entry stopped from here.
Shocking.
The fishermen watched from the boat as the tribesmen dragged John's lifeless body across the beach before burying him in sand.
How did they get
the
his
people
notebook?
in Kansas City not prepare him for this? Your defense tactics are amazing, but at the same time, man, be persistent. Go with Christ, brother.
Yeah.
How is there not a protocol? If it gets hairy and you're able to get out, just get out. Okay.
Yep.
You're God's favorite warrior, John. Really? I also run a Toyota dealership. You really are a messenger of God, aren't you, John? Picture
Yeah.
this. You're home alone when suddenly
Bad.
the worst happens.
No, thank
For your own
you.
safety, consider signing up to the Meat Canyon Patreon.
Go to my Patreon, please. It funds my gambling.
These stories can often lead to brutal deaths, all right? A lot of them are. We're going to be talking about a lot of brutal deaths, sometimes I'll tell you. But not just by the Sentinelese people, but by many other indigenous tribes. So let's talk about Michael C. Rockefeller and the Asmat tribe of New Guinea.
Damn, that guy's. Look at that smile. He's happy.
I think that he knows. He's like, you have no idea how hard
Happy,
you have to get.
happy,
23-year-old Michael C. Rockefeller, son of New
Ooh.
York Governor Nelson
3
Rockefeller
years
and
older
future
than
vice
me.
president, would actively visit indigenous tribes for the purpose of collecting artifacts. He'd bring them home to the Museum of Primitive Art, which was also
Wow.
founded by, guess what? Daddy, my dad, Nelson. While sailing with his partner, waves crashed into their boat, causing it to overturn. His partner insisted they both stay put, as the waves would eventually subside so they could turn the boat back.
And let me
over.
guess, he
Rockefeller
didn't do that.
believed he could swim to shore for help, despite his partner pleading against the idea. Rockefeller tied floats to himself and swam 3 miles ashore, but was never seen again. His death was declared death by drowning in 1964, but further research and investigation had shown otherwise. A rumor floated around that he made it to shore and was eaten by the Asmat tribe. But the Dutch who controlled this area admittedly refused this idea. They're like, no, come on. It's not I never saw that before.
No.
Like Diet Coke.
You did not have coconut in Diet Coke, so they do not care. They can't even see you. It was later discovered that the Dutch government and local church authorities were fully aware of how Michael died, but were staying silent of the details. I don't know. I could not tell you what happened.
I don't
okay,
know.
is that Dutch, right? Isn't that Dutch or is that
I don't.
That's Swedish. Hey, we're just gonna go Swedish. I could not tell you what happened.
That's
Mamma
Italian.
mia.
Yeah, Mario.
Yeah, that's Maria. All right, fine. He's Italian. I don't know tell you what happened. Michael did not drown. He was tortured, beheaded, and eaten in ritualistic cannibal killing by the Asmats, a violent New Guinea tribe. Not peaceful. Some
How
would
do
say
they
violent.
get the
You're just scaring
photos?
them. Come on.
Well,
Bro, those
I hate to be that guy, but
recreation.
cannibalistic eatings, beating them, torturing them, all that stuff. I'm going to say that they have a violent tendency. To be fair, he stepped on the turf. Gonna
Why
get
would you say
burned,
that?
dude. He almost approached safety when a flotilla of 40 canoes with 50-plus men had gathered nearby.
That's terrifying. You're just swimming for your life.
Well, you're like swimming up, whatever. You like get up on shore, and you're like. They spotted him, and an Asmat tribesman drove a spear into his side. So he's like, hey, how's it go? He's like trying to pull the Diet Coke out of his jeans. He was cut from his anus to his neck, down the side of his trunk to the armpit, across the collarbone to the throat, and down the other side in the ancestral ritual to butcher a man. Cut from his asshole up to his neck, wrap around. From here, an axe was used to break his ribs. All of his legs were cut off, and his sternum was ripped out before they removed his entrails. He was still alive. Okay, can you imagine? He was scalped, and his head was cooked and cut across the face from a nose to the nape of his neck. A hole was made in the skull where they dumped his brains out into a palm leaf. I made a nice bread out of it. Nice gravy, I don't know. It was mixed with sago, wrapped up and left to roast for a special meal. And far before Michael's trip, a Dutchman overseeing the colony ordered the execution of 5 high-ranking tribesmen, and they believe Rockefeller's killing was a retaliation for that execution. Way to go, Dutch. Killed those 5.
Oh, that's why they're keeping quiet. We don't know.
We don't know why.
You know, we're even. Yeah, they said we're even. I don't know what they're talking about.
So did the Asmat tell them this is what they did? How do they know all these details?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. They go, they're like, what happened? The guy's like, dude, listen, it's a total fucking misunderstanding, okay? We thought he was Dutch. I don't know. He killed 5 of our bros. We're pissed and hungry. We fucking hate him. I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you. I'm like, what? The Dutch said? And the Dutch are like, sorry about that. I guess we kind of
Mamma mia.
fudged up the details there a little bit. Probably should have just told you what was going on. That's okay, Dutch. Thank you for finally being honest. No member of the Rockefeller family has publicly accepted the version of the truth, and they repeat, to this day, that he drowned to death. There were private investigations after the official ruling of drowning that seemed to indicate that the theory he was killed was actually correct. Like other Rockefellers, all rich assholes are just like, no way. He was a poor swimmer. That's how he died.
He didn't
Like,
listen
did he
to
get
us.
eaten? No. Why not just admit, yeah, I got eaten?
Is that a shame to their family?
Yeah, no Rockefeller gets eaten. We've never been eaten. We've drowned. We're a good drowning family. Poseidon, the god of the ocean, wanted to claim him, and he's
Right,
immortal
right.
of the ocean. He's the governor of Atlantis. He's the mayor of Atlantis. Good on you. Good job, Rockefeller. Will Rockefeller are proud people. These are claims that Rockefeller's mother hired a private investigator who went to the tribe and swapped a boat engine for 3 human skulls. While there, the tribe supposedly stated that they were the only white men they ever killed. It was claimed that he had brought the skulls back to the family, where his mother paid the investigator $250,000 as a reward for proof of his death. Yeah, they're just like, I don't know, take this one. He's like, thank you. Also, that back then, that money, whew, pretty penny. We're
Oof.
proud. with the Rockefellers. In a 2014 book about Rockefeller's death, the author Carl Hoffman tells stories of how he visited the tribes, and during one visit, witnessed a man acting out someone's death and stopped to record the act. The acting was eerily similar to the stories of Rockefeller's death. The language later translated to reveal that the man was urging him to never speak of this incident, saying if he did, Carl and his people would all die.
Ooh.
You bitch. You, dude. Come on. The hell is this?
Are these the Asmats saying?
The Asmat are saying that. Don't ever speak of this or you'll all die.
Don't
Like,
say nothing.
how about you suck the fattest part of my cock, dude? How's that sound? The Asmat people were known as a semi-nomadic tribe that were versed in every taboo known to the Western world. Men would openly have sex with each other, their wives would be shared, and they would drink each other's urine during bonding rituals. They hunted human heads, killed their own neighbors, and ate human flesh. And apparently they would even suck the chief's cock. I like how that's like the end point. By the way, they sucked the chief's cock. I'd love to be the chief of that village. Come on in.
Damn.
The chair fell down. Speaking of cannibalism, there's plenty more where that came from. We could talk about the handicapped student eaten by the Kalina
You got
tribe.
it, bud.
Kahlua.
Is it Kahlua?
No.
Kalina. The Kalina tribe. In February of 2009, God, these are like kind of recent. The hell's up with all these people? God damn,
like
leave them alone. Like in the 30s,
almost
I
20
get it
years
being
ago,
like,
not really that recent.
adventurers, you see, right? The Nazis haven't even come around yet. We're going to save these goddamn barbarians. But now it's just like, I just fucking leave them, dude. We have the Xbox. We have Dead Rising. Why do we need to have the Uncontacted? We can run around a mall in a video game and kill zombies.
Gotta show my Facebook homies that I saved this tribe.
You
Yeah.
guys see on Facebook that I saved that tribe? Did you like the post? Are we friends on Facebook or no? In February of
told them
2009,
about
3 indigenous
Jesus.
Brazilians were investigated under suspicion of having murdered and eaten a 21-year-old handicapped man. The Kalina tribe, an indigenous R1-speaking tribe, was assumed to be behind the slaughter of the young disabled man. It is believed that they carved him up with over 100 cuts in order to eat his insides. You know you can just cut him open. 100 fucking cuts, more effort. Whatever. You do what you gotta do. 3 people were investigated by the police, and it was shown that they bragged to the relatives in the reservation about how they ate an innocent man's heart and liver. This was strange, as the Kalina tribe do not practice any form of cannibalism, leading police to the conclusion that they were either drunk or on drugs. Is there tribe drugs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the little... They blow the powder in their face.
What's that drug? What?
Peyote?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah.
I didn't think that you'd get the munchies on ayahuasca. Ayahuasca so much that you're eating raw heart and liver. To each is their own. No arrests were made, partly due to Brazilian law not allowing military or civil police to enter their land. Why they even investigate them then? I guess just to be
How
like,
did
"Did
they
you do it?"
investigate?
All right. Even people who claim to be experts in uncontacted tribes truly can't predict what will happen when they arrive. This was surely the case with Riley Franciscado, the Amazon expert. Riley Franciscado was killed in 2020 while attempting to contact an isolated group in the Serangueros, Brazil.
Doing great.
Brazil.
Having a stroke.
I'm just going to say Dayton, Ohio. Local ranchers and loggers had targeted the area's wood burning and chopping down protected land for its resources. And in the process, an isolated group had been sighted, urging the Brazilian Indigenous Affairs Agency to investigate. The 56-year-old team coordinator was killed by an arrow in the chest at the border of the Uru-Uru-I-Wa-U tribes territory. Is that how it's said or what?
That's pretty close.
Whatever, dude. I'm just going to... You put it up on the screen. I'm almost positive. Uru-Uru-Wa-U tribes. Dayton, Ohio territory. Reporters say he pulled the arrow out and ran 50 meters before falling. Riley may not have been a missionary, but his intentions were to
Taking the
save
arrow
people by
out is a
preserving their
bad
territory
idea.
and empowering them with
Probably.
resources despite what was being taken from them. I like how he's just like, I was just trying to fucking help, dude. Poor Riley. And in many of these cases, the people that set out on these voyages simply disappear, with very little details on how they met their fate. One of the
Right.
earliest examples of a high-profile case of someone dying at the hands of an uncontacted tribe was the story of Percy Fawcett. Did I get that name right?
You got it right. Yep.
Okay. My boy Percy Fawcett was a South American explorer,
Let that
geographer,
sink in.
cartographer, and archaeologist.
Fawcett?
He's Indiana Jones. Is he not?
Oh,
Is
shut
that?
up.
It's Indiana Jones.
That is Indiana Jones.
His explorations gained him immense fame, and he was even awarded a prestigious medal from the Royal Geographical Society. Doesn't sound too cool. There you go. Awesome. Yeah, it's not the Game Awards. It's not an Oscar. Those are the real awards that matter.
Yeah.
His many expeditions had slowly put the theory into his head that there is such thing as a lost city in the Amazon rainforest. Something akin to the
Atlantis.
fabled city of El Dorado, which is their gold. It's all gold. There's a cartoon of it too. A chick with chick in a movie.
Chell. Yeah. You know they f***ed off camera.
Yeah.
Towering with the
I never saw that movie.
He set
Yeah.
on a trip to find the supposed lost city, which he referred to as the City of Z. It's kind of sick.
Zeus?
This would not be his first expedition into the area, as previous trips were plagued with exhaustion, sickness, and terrible weather. His son Jack and his friend Riley, two men that shared Percy's obsession with the city of Z, would accompany him on his most recent endeavor. Percy kept moving at all costs, to the point that his son and his friend had to camp alone for a night because Percy was moving at such a breakneck pace. God, why don't you fucking calm down, Percy? I'm gonna get there before you guys. Together they trekked
Let's
through dense
race.
forest, going through unmapped areas populated by hostile native tribes. Percy kept moving at all costs, though, to the point that his son and his friend had to camp alone for a night. Dad, I can't. My foot's stuck. All three of the men disappeared, never returning home. Who would have thought? 2 years later, in 1927, many volunteers began the search for them, despite Percy's insistence that rescuers should not risk their lives in the event of his death. The mission was a failure. It was never clear what actually led to their deaths. Some claimed it was due to harsh forest conditions and diseases. Others claimed vicious animal attacks. Some even suggested that Percy started a commune in the jungle, simply pretending he was dead to live his new life in the rainforest. I wonder if that was all inspired Apocalypse Now. Maybe, because that's about a general who he just faked his death and went off and...
I thought you meant Apocalypto.
Or it's like Apocalypto. Like that scene where he's like dick itches or something. And they give his like a leaf that you put on your cock. They're messing with him. Remember that? He's getting rid of his wife and he's like, yeah, I can't get hard. I can't impregnate my wife. And they're like, yeah, rub this leaf on it. And he's like, okay.
I
He's
need
like,
to
"Ah."
watch
So
more
she runs out of
movies
his hut.
and
He's like,
shows.
"Ah!" And they're all laughing at him. But they all die, so he wins in the end. Spoiler. From the movie from 2004 or whenever that came out. Sorry. In 2005, a journalist named David Grand retraced Percy's steps on his own expedition. He met with members of the Kalapalo, and they claimed Percy traveled in the domain of a warlike tribe that likely ambushed and murdered him. Now listen, guys. Here's what I gotta say. One, if it's an uncontacted tribe, don't contact them. What do all these people have in common? Sticking their nose in other people's business that shouldn't be there. I think uncontacted tribes also goes to your neighbor.
What?
Or the guy down the road.
Oh,
stay out of people's business, dude. Don't be snooping around, let alone uncontacted tribes where they can kill you or put leaves on your cock that make your cock itchy. And then Mel Gibson makes a movie about it, and everyone laughs at you. You know, and here's the thing: if you're really bored, maybe don't pick a hobby that's like, hey, let's go talk to someone who doesn't want to talk to us. That's a lame hobby. Where the only award is you getting a medal from the Geographical Society or whatever the it was. Lame, bored, and also if you're religious, be religious by yourself, dude. Marry a religious woman. Talk to people who want to talk about it. Don't go to some people who are like, I've never seen a flashlight. I don't know the concept of a battery.
But it's fun. You get to teach them all sorts of things.
But it's fun. You get to give them coconuts and Diet Coke. You get to give them Diet Coke. If you're going to go out there, at least give them a 12-packer. Showing up, dropping a coconut on a beach.
Give them a
Sprite. What are we thinking? I don't know.
Then they'll truly love you.
Want to get contacted by you. Appreciate you so much, everybody. Thank you for stopping by and joining us this week. We hope to see you next time.
Did you know they made a City Z movie?
Really?
Ooh.
That's how I learned of Percy Fawcett. Yeah, I liked it. Pretty good. Check it out.
Better than El Dorado?
No, you can't beat El Dorado.
I love El Dorado. Also, remember the girl in that? All right, we're done. Bye.
Bye. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, bye-bye. What would you give an uninhabited tribe or uncontacted? Let me know. Bye-bye.